the fact that some people listen to me and I can write something that may affect somebody, it's a wonderful feeling. Wonderful.
In 1963, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's X-Men universe was first introduced to us in the midst of the Civil Rights Movement. The X-Men universe opened up the door to have really tough conversations about the racial tension that was going on at the time. It also allowed the reader to put themselves in someone else's shoes and see the world through a different perspective.
Hey, you're one of them, ain't you? We don't want you lousy mutants around here!
Fictional universes work as a bridge for us to be able to have these conversations about moral issues that are going on in our own world. Another great example was, and still is, Star Trek.
It is obvious to the most simple-minded that Loki is of an inferior breed.
The obvious visual evidence, Commissioner, is that he is of the same breed as yourself.
You know, Star Trek, which part of its success was the fact that it could address social issues at a time when they were very much on people's minds, but people were not addressing them on TV, at least not to that degree.
You know, what I loved about Star Trek was that it really was about a unified group of different cultures working together for a common good. And you know, the race really wasn't a issue. And Gene Roddenberry was very subversive about it because he brought in the whole race and diversity topic by bringing in different aliens.
Unlike in the X-Men, which showed us a world divided because of our differences, Star Trek showed us what we might be able to achieve if we're able to look past those racial divides. A utopian future.
Starfleet Command extends greetings to Commissioner Beale of the planet Charon.
Gene Roddenberry knew exactly what he was doing. It's filled with diversity, and it was so well done. And so it was. I was proud to be on it.
What are you smiling about, Captain?
Nothing, sir. I just think he's kind of hot.
I think that the genre of sci-fi and the genres of fantasy absolutely open the door for these conversations in unique ways. Sometimes because it's easier to say what happened to those alien beings is distant enough from what I think about my actual neighbor. I felt compassion for that, and then secretly am now questioning myself, and I want to have compassion in these other ways.
The wildcards itself, you know, we have this whole class of people called jokers who are, the wildcard virus is the cause of all the superpowers in the world, but only 1 in 100 who contracts the virus becomes an ace with superpowers. For every ace, there are 10 jokers where they're mutated, but in an unfortunate way. They become crippled or deformed or ugly or grotesque in some manner, and they're shunned by society and considered unclean and potentially diseased. Well, the jokers are our metaphor, if you will, our symbol, for our stand-in for all of the marginalized groups of society that have suffered in our society, whether it's racial minorities or religious minorities or gay and lesbian people. You know, all of these people who, for one reason or another, at one point or other in history, have been declared outcasts. We're talking about a fictional world, but we wanted to reflect on the real world.
He's a mutant, a stinking mutant. He doesn't deserve to live on the same planet as normal, decent human beings.
Fiction can serve as a jumping-off point to talk about issues that may be hard to talk about when it affects people's real lives. I think race is a really good example of a topic that for some people, it's hard to have a real conversation without either getting defensive or angry or upset and having a productive conversation. And so sometimes talking about things, what we would call in psychology, in displacement, kind of once removed, can keep personal emotions. It can help dampen them enough to have a productive conversation.
If people really in some way are influenced by anything I say, the one thing that I'm trying to say is we should all be good to each other.
As always, thank you so much for watching. For more Superhero Faces content, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We'll see you there.
It's time we recognize that all mutants are potentially dangerous to mankind.
Get a life.